But what I began to realize in going to event after event after event and being asked this question, what do I do, what do I do, is these people were sincere. They didn't know what to do. I can't give you the answer, but what I can do is say, why are they asking this question? What's going on here? What's the problem? And that's where I first realized that America is infected with a disease that destroys basic citizenship. How do you define this disease? I don't know. I've come up with one way of defining it. I call it the narcotic of consumerism. Basically, it's the narcotic of consumerism that has destroyed citizenship. You see, citizenship's about being willing to break free of the confines of comfort and get out there and roll your sleeves up and dig in and do the damn job when no one else is willing to do it. Citizenship means you care about your community. Citizenship means that no people sit on a street corner hungry because you're going to feed them because it's in your backyard. Citizenship says, if I got garbage on the street, I pick it up. Citizenship says, I raise my kids right to respect the rule of law, to respect legitimate authority, to say, yes, sir, no, ma'am, be polite, do unto others as you would want to do. Not because you're Christian, because you're a good citizen and you give a damn about your community. But we don't do that anymore. Why? Because we have wrapped ourselves in the comfort, in the cocoon of comfort, the narcotic of consumerism. And we just want to be kept happy and safe and comfortable. And we don't want to rock the boat or have anybody else rock the boat because that threatens our cocoon of comfort. It might actually tip over and break over, and then suddenly we got to act on our own. No, we dumb ourselves down. We allow the system to take care of us instead of us taking care of the system. And this is the problem today. We aren't active citizens. Now, why is it important to point this out? Two reasons why. First of all, if you're going to speak of participatory democracy, how many people here call themselves progressives? Yeah, I mean, a lot of progressive here. And look, I'm working on it, man. I'm still a conservative Republican. One of these days, my hair will go below my collar. And you know you've won me over when I start sporting the earring, all right? But we're not there yet. I still got to have my conservative stuff, you know. But I love progressives. And the progressives believe in this concept of participatory democracy. Everybody has a say. And it works okay if everybody is a citizen, empowered with knowledge and information, and working off the same sheet of music. But the progressive community isn't that way. There was a comedian up here that pointed that out. You know, liberals will argue over the most ridiculous things. I mean, I used to go to Israel quite a bit. I was the lead liaison with the Israeli intelligence community on the issue of Iraq's WMD. And they had the old joke in Israel, you know, you go to an Israeli cafe and you've got 4 people sitting around a table and 12 different opinions and things of that nature. Well, I would say the same thing holds true with progressives. You can put 4 progressives around the table and you've got 12 different opinions. The progressives will contradict themselves just for the point of arguing something. Just to make the point that I have a say. They might be talking about something they don't know anything about, but, oh my God, participatory democracy, I'm going to weigh in on this issue because I'm a progressive. And I'm making light of it, but sadly, this is almost an accurate statement of the situation that the progressive movement finds itself. And why pick on the progressives? Because the peace and justice movement is derived not from the conservative heartland of America, but the left fringe of progressive America. And God bless the left fringe of progressive America. I thank the left fringe of progressive America for what it's doing. The peace and justice movement is an important movement. We need it, especially in these times of war. But wait, how can you be proud of a peace and justice movement, especially a peace movement that creates an anti-war movement, when we aren't winning? How can you be proud of being part of something that's simply getting its ass kicked over and over and over again? Now, a lot of people in the progressive will say, that's not true. It's an ongoing struggle. Well, bull. I just keep looking up at the scoreboard, you know, the one that says Iraq war, and I see the score that says pro-war 60, anti-war 0, and we're down to the 2-minute warning. And you're telling me you got a game plan to pull this one off? You don't. The progressive movement doesn't. The anti-war movement doesn't. And so time and time again, as I spoke about weapons of mass destruction, I can speak about Iran, I can speak about issues of national security, the question continues to be thrown back in my face, what do we do about it? And so by addressing the issue of why are they asking this question, the answer becomes clear. The progressive movement's got to get its act together. And the first concept that has to be embraced by the anti-war movement is that you're at war, not in Iraq, here in the United States. You're in an ideological conflict for the heart and soul of America. Well, we don't do war. Well, then you're going to get your ass kicked. All right? That's the bottom line. If your plan is to hold hands, light candles, and sing Kumbaya, the game's over. Might as well pack up and go home because the pro-war people are going to roll over you every single time. Now, I don't like proposing things that change the character of any movement. And God forbid a conservative come in and try to tell progressives how to do their business. But you know what? The progressive wing of America for so long has failed to recognize that they are at an ideological war, that maybe you need a conservative knuckle dragger to come in and tell you, hey, you're at war, and let me tell you how to fight war. Because you know what? That's what I know how to do. In addition to spying, I know how to fight war. I was trained as a warrior. Now, I don't want you guys to all fix bayonets and go jab the next Fox-viewing Republican in the gut and twist it with that extra special twist that brings him down to his knees before you can pull the bayonet out and decapitate him with one stroke. No, nonviolence. Nonviolence is what we're about. But the art of war is not the art of killing. In fact, if you study one of the fundamental documents that talks about the art of war, Sun Tzu's, the original The Art of War, Sun Tzu says that if you are compelled to go down the path of violence, you have failed. So the true anti-war peace movement should study the art of war because the perfect application of the art of war means there will be no war. Imagine that. Now, the art of war isn't about, again, closing with and destroying the enemy through firepower and maneuver. That's the mission of the Marine Corps. The art of war is about organization. The art of war is about being more effective in doing what you do than the enemy, your opponent, does the way they do business. The art of war recognizes that there's an enemy. The art of war, not to get too kung fu on you, is about the chin and the chi. Now, chin and chi is just basically action, reaction. It's Newton's second law of physics, pretty much. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, that one thing doesn't happen without another. If you think about your day-to-day life, you actually practice the fundamental tenets of the art of war every time you get up in the morning and do something. I mean, especially in LA, I figured out you guys got more traffic than the rest of the country combined. You want to get up in the morning and go on the 405. That's suicide, I've learned. You don't go on the 405 at 8:30 in the morning because you go nowhere. But so you wake up and you say, I'm here at point X, and I need to get to point Y to do a job by a given amount of time. You know you're going to have to get up, get in your car, and you're going to plot your route. All right? You've already started preparing yourself. You have a plan. You have a car. It might be 20 miles to where you're going, and the potential of heavy traffic. You might want to have gas in your car. So the night before, you actually went to the gas station before you parked it, and you filled up. You're doing that preparation work. That's the art of war, guys. You're reducing the friction for the next day so that as you head to your given appointment, you don't have to say, oh, damn, I'm almost out of gas, I go get gas. No, you've already taken care of that. You guys are warriors in training. You don't even know it yet. You're listening to radio reports about traffic. You know what that's called? Intelligence. That's called intelligence. You're gathering intelligence about the battlefield that you're engaged in, because it is a battlefield. How do you define a battlefield? A battlefield is a place where opposing forces meet and create friction. If that's not a definition of day-to-day life, I don't know what is. Day-to-day life is basically human beings interacting with one another in a way that creates friction. How do you successfully get through the day? Reduce your friction. Isn't that right? Reduce your friction. Make life simple. You do it every day. And yet, when suddenly it becomes the anti-war movement, you guys make it as complicated as possible. You have committee after committee after committee after committee that has meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. And when you say, who's the boss? You say, all of you say, I am the boss. And when you say, well, who's going to be the worker? No, not me. Not me. And then you bitch and moan because you don't have any money. We don't have any money. The rich neoconservative industrial cabal has all the money in the world, and we don't have any money. Wow. Imagine the terrorist group, not the terrorists, excuse me, I don't want to bring up terrorists. Imagine the guerrilla group, the rebels somewhere in the world, saying, we're taking on America, the nation with the largest gross national product in the world, and we can't match them, so let's just frickin' surrender right now. No, they sit there and they say, how can we maximize what we have? How can we make this rich nation outspend itself and basically die through inefficiency while we become the most efficient operation going? That's what the anti-war movement should be doing. Because you're at war today with your ideological opponents, the pro-war movement, the military-industrial congressional complex that Dwight D. Eisenhower warned us about. Now, you might be laughing at me throwing in congressional. Understand that when Dwight D. Eisenhower originally wrote his speech was against the military-industrial congressional complex because he recognized the evil. He recognized the problem. But he was compelled to withdraw congressional, just calling it military industrial. But I think today we can be a little bit more upfront.